television. The Denver Broncos have won the toss and they will defer, which means the Oakland Raiders will get their hands on the football first. George Atkinson III will not run it out, and it'll be first down for the Oakland Raiders on the 20-yard line. Let's check in with Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, Greg, everybody seems to have a strong opinion about what the Monday night loss for the Broncos means for them going forward. And that was the case when we spoke with Von Miller yesterday. He said he actually thinks the loss could be a good thing for this team going forward, saying it's good to have a wake-up call before the postseason. And they want to take it out on Oakland today. And just a quick note, keep an eye on Khalil Mack, the rookie linebacker for the Raiders. He's dealing with a left hamstring injury. Tony Spano said it could be a concern with the cold weather. Greg?
All right, Evan, thank you. On first down, this is Latavius Murray. And Murray with maybe 2 yards at the most before being spun down at the 22-yard line. That's the Raiders quarterback, Derek Carr, starting every single game in his rookie season. 20 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions. He's proven he's a keeper, isn't he, Trent?
Well, and you start looking at some of the rookie quarterbacks in this draft class, and really Derek Carr steps to the forefront as far as who's established himself this season, and you see an upward trend for him moving forward.
They give him a 1-yard pickup, and it's 2nd and 9.
180! What's up?
Quick drop, escapes trouble, goes down inside the 15-yard line at the 14. DeMarcus Ware, who came into the game with 10 sacks, now has 11.
Well, and initially the pressure is right here in the middle of your screen, 98. You're going to see he's going to come up there, and he's the one that gets the initial pressure. And then Von Miller is able to finish it off when Derek Carr is able to get away from that initial pressure from Knighton.
Denver has not managed a sack in its last 2 games. They get one right off the bat here today. 3rd and 16. Carr with time this time over the middle and complete. Threw into a crowd. Well, that's intended for Michael Rivera. Excuse me, Trent.
Well, no, and Greg, all I was going to say, that was, you know, when you're taking a late throw down the middle of the field, you're taking some chances because you see the safeties converging. You know you have the one-on-one against the linebacker, and all of a sudden you throw that ball up the field. He tried to underthrow to get a back shoulder throw. Broncos are lucky that they didn't get a pass interference because the defender wasn't turning around to locate the football. Davis didn't turn around and ran right through the tight end.
Denver has excelled in 3-and-outs this season. That was the 54th for them, the most in the NFL. Wes Welker is deep for the kick from Marquette King, and it's a booming kick. Welker back at his own 28. To the outside, 45 and out of bounds. That will make it pretty good field position for number 18. 5-time NFL MVP Peyton Manning, 530 career touchdown passes, named to his 14th Pro Bowl, and this is 17th season. Anxious to see how he rebounds from that Monday night loss at Cincinnati.
He tends to rebound pretty well, and you have to remember last time facing these Oakland Raiders back in week number 10, he had 350 yards and 5 touchdown passes.
C.J. Anderson in the backfield behind Manning, and Anderson gets the handoff for a couple. On the Broncos offensive line, left tackle Ryan Clady, one of the league-high 9 Pro Bowl starters for Denver. Another is wide receiver Demaryius Thomas, who has a franchise record 103 catches on the year. Sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Emmanuel Sanders. And we have a flag down at about the 30-yard line. Our referee today is Cleet Blakeman.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Offense, number 10. 15 yards from the previous spot. Replay, 2nd down.
We've seen that a couple times this season, Trent.
You know, it must happen initially off the line of scrimmage. In order to get that separation, You don't see it towards the end of the route, but the flag was thrown earlier from the release. And as Sanders, you'll see at the top of your screen here, watch Sanders as he extends that right arm. He gets about 5 yards upfield, extends that right arm, and you can see the pole that allows him to get by. The official's right on top of it. Calls the offensive face mask.
So it's 2nd and 22.
Taylor!
Manning pass wide open at about the 43 was Demaryius Thomas, and he's close to midfield. On Oakland's defense, one of the veterans up front, 10-year man Justin Tuck, one of the great young talents in the NFL. Rookie linebacker Khalil Mack playing, as Evan told you, on that sore hamstring today. And the great Charles Woodson roaming the secondary, a secondary that starts rookie Keith McGill at cornerback for injured T.J. Carey. 3rd and 8 now for Manning, who needs the Oakland 44 for a first down. Manning coming to this side of the field, incomplete. And we have a penalty flag down. And this is going to be against the Raiders.
It appears that it's going to be the defender that's guarding C.J. Anderson.
Holding defense number 57. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Ray Armstrong is the one that's going to get called on. C.J. Anderson's out in the right slot, and he's just going to be running a corner route. And they're going to get Ray Anderson. Right here is C.J. Anderson, and here's Ray Armstrong. He's just going to run a corner route, and what they're going to call, he's going to reach out and grab him there. No, that's the penalty that they called, but as you can see from the replay, not a lot of contact to bring that flag.
Enough to give the Broncos a first down. And this is Ronnie Hillman in the game for the first time and run out of bounds at the Oakland 45-yard line by Ray Armstrong.
Well, Jason Tarver, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, he's not going to be real happy with that call because his player was in position, and Tarver talked about the tempo. Here we see Denver getting up to the line of scrimmage really quickly and getting a quick snap. He talked about the tempo that Denver likes to use.
There was Jason Tarver on the sideline, Manning throwing, and that's complete inside the 35 to Demaryius Thomas for a first down. We asked C.J. Anderson yesterday how was Peyton this week, and in so many words he said angry, and he said I like him when he's angry.
It was interesting. He said I like him when he's angry. I like him when he's very focused and determined. He mentioned that Peyton tends to be pretty serious, which all of us know. He's very focused on what he does, but after coming off the performance he did against Cincinnati and getting dialed in this week, CJ said he was very focused during the week.
On first down, Manning, play fake, and tripped up and sacked in the backfield by number 91, Justin Tuck. Let's get an update from the NFL Today. JB and Boomer.
All right, Greg, little trickery here.
How about this little flea flicker? That's going to be Ryan Lindley. Hands it off to Marion Grace. He flips it back, then throws it down the field to Michael Floyd, 20 yards for a touchdown. Cardinals take an early 7-0 lead.
Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Evan Washburn.
All right, guys, if Arizona wins, both Seattle and Green Bay lose, Cardinals clinch home field throughout the playoff. 2nd and 13. This is Ronnie Hillman, and Hillman brought down at about the 32-yard line, leading the way. Number 25, DJ Hayden, along with Charles Woodson. Broncos, they win. They are the number 2 seed in the AFC. If Cincinnati loses tonight, they're the number 2 seed in the AFC. But a loss here to Oakland and a Cincinnati win drops Denver to number 3, and they play next weekend. 3rd and 9. Manning throwing, and that is low and incomplete. Intended for Demaryius Thomas and broken up by Mr. Woodson, who has intimate knowledge of going up against Peyton Manning.
Well, and the thing with Peyton Manning and how he likes to push the ball up the field, and we talked about the different tempos that can be used in that conversations that I had with Jason Tarver. We'll get back to that after the commercial.
So Charles Woodson being looked at on the field. They'll do that. We'll take a break. We're scoreless in Denver. So John Fox is going to go for the early lead here. Connor Barth, who has kicked a 50-yarder earlier this season, will try this one from 49 yards out to give Denver the lead. On its way, straight enough and long enough. So 9:40 to play in the first quarter, 3-0 Denver.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The Dodge Brothers. 100 years later, their spirit lives on. And by Verizon. Hit the good more this holiday season with the best end-of-season deals on great tech gifts.
A view of downtown Denver from City Park, where apparently some of you creatures enjoy frolicking in the snow. "23 yards in 8 plays, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and the Barth 49-yard field goal in George Atkinson is deep. And this one will not be returned either. So the Raiders once again from their own 20-yard line. We've talked about Derek Carr. Take a look at the offensive line. It has reliable Donald Penn in his 9th season out of Utah State at left tackle. And second-year running back Latavius Murray's come on strong and grabbed the starting job ahead of Darren McFadden and Maurice Jones-Drew. When this season began, the Raiders had high hopes of a 1-2 punch from McFadden and Jones-Drew. It just hasn't worked out that way.
You know, that hasn't worked out. Jones-Drew is still under 100 yards on the season. He's been healthy most of the year. That hasn't been the problem. McFadden's been healthy for the first time in his career as well. They just weren't effective, and they've turned to Latavius Murray.
This is Murray straight ahead for about 3. Malik Jackson making the stop. Denver's third-ranked defense. DeMarcus Ware named to his 8th Pro Bowl. 11 sacks on the season now, 128 for the career. Another Pro Bowler, Von Miller at linebacker, a team leading 13 sacks for the year. And a ball-hawking secondary led by cornerback Aqib Talib, who has 4 picks and has returned 2 for touchdowns. Murray again to about the 27.5-yard line.
Well, Derek Carr talked to us about how they're running the football better, and by running the football better, that's taking the pressure off of him to not have to hang on to the ball as much. You can get some play-action passes to push the ball up the field. He said he's felt more comfortable in the pocket, and a lot of that is due to having that running game to lean on.
What's that called? The quarterback's best friend?
It definitely is.
3rd and 2. Carr working for time, doesn't get enough of it down at the 20, courtesy of Aqib Talib.
This is a coverage sack by the Broncos. There's nowhere for Derek Carr to go with the ball, and just keep an eye on all the receivers. You're going to see all 3 guys locked up here. You're going to see locked up here on a crossing route. There's just nowhere for Derek Carr to go with the football. And Talib, ultimately, you can see right here, Talib is who gets chipped in that route, but it's a good combination by the Broncos as they change it off. Talib comes off of his coverage once he gets rubbed on that chip. It frees him up to chase after Carr, and nice job of communication by the Denver secondary.
Talib's first sack of this season. Marquette King whistle blows. And delay of game, it appears.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, it's a loose bunch of Denver Broncos, obviously. We found that out when we talked with them this weekend, but they know what's at stake, and they know how valuable next weekend off would be.
Well, it's very valuable, not only just a rest standpoint, but they are missing a couple of their starters because of injury, so that extra week would let those guys get back on the field as they prepare for the playoffs.
Another big hit by Marquette King. Drives Welker back to his 30. Up the sideline. And back to midfield. 7:11 to play. First quarter, 3-0 Denver. This is the NFL on CBS. Hey, you can keep fantasy football going in the postseason and compete for up to $2,000 with CBSSports.com Playoff Challenge. See rules and sign up at cbssports.com/challenge. Void where prohibited. Denver's had nice field position with their 46 and now at their own 49-yard line. Manning looking far side, went for the back shoulder, and the pass wasn't there. Cody Latimer, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
That's twice now that Manning has gone after McGill, who's filling in over that corner spot. The rookie trying to take advantage. The first time was Emmanuel Sanders up the sideline, and Sanders got called with the offensive face mask, and that time Latimer one-on-one, trying to take advantage when he sees him isolated over on the side. You see Woodson's back in the game for the Raiders.
2nd and 10.
20.
Manning, this side of the field, got his man inside the 40-yard line, and that is Sanders. And Sanders to about the 38 of the Raiders, and that's a 1st down.
Plenty of time for Manning. Comes off the play fake to C.J. Anderson and just sets up. It's just a traditional comeback route on the outside. You can see the cushion that the Raiders are giving Sanders. Hayden's giving him a huge cushion, giving respect to Emmanuel Sanders' speed.
Peyton was telling us how Emmanuel's been a fast learner for him.
We said the work ethic's been there, and that's been a big difference for him.
Manning running out of time, throwing, and got his man inside the 20, 15, down at the 10-yard line is not Julius Thomas, it's Demarius Thomas for a 1st down.
Demarius is who comes in motion, and he's working on McGill. It's a zone coverage, but McGill is chasing him across the middle of the field. Good anticipation by Peyton Manning as he releases that ball before Demarius Thomas even comes out of his cut. You can see why he had to release the ball so early, because he took a hit after making the throw.
So on 1st down from the 11-yard line. This is Anderson. Anderson to the 5. Anderson to the end zone for the touchdown.
I want you to watch the inside blocking here where Denver is going to run this touchdown. You see a double team here and you see a double team here, and then you're going to get C.J. Anderson running right up the middle. Great job by the offensive line of combination blocks, getting to that 2nd level, getting up to the linebacker, and then putting C.J. Anderson one-on-one with the safety. You can see Ross in the open field had no chance of making that tackle. You can see him break the plane before the knee comes down.
That's a perfect example of how a running back has to trust that that hole is going to open up at the right time.
Well, and that's a great job by the offensive line being in communication. You saw both the double teams coming off the ball, and then one of either the guard or the center has to release to that 2nd level up on the linebacker. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's the other.
Connor Barth's extra point is good as we come up on 5.5 to play in the 1st quarter. The Denver Broncos on the touchdown run by C.J. Anderson jump to a 10-point lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. And by American Sniper from Warner Brothers Pictures, now playing in select theaters everywhere January 16th.
Apparently they do some of that around here. Welcome back to Denver. 10-0 Broncos. 5:37 to play in the 1st quarter. And Connor Barth, who's already had 2 touchbacks, will not get one here. This one batted down at the 5-yard line by Kenbrell Tompkins. And Tompkins across the 25 to about the 27, maybe the 26-yard line. Hey, celebrate America's greatest stars at the Kennedy Center with performances by Bruno Mars, Bruce Springsteen, and Lady Gaga. Stephen Colbert hosts Tuesday at 9, 8 Central, only CBS.
Greg, it's imperative that the Raiders get something going on this series. I know you want something going every series, but the first two series, 3 and outs, giving the ball to the Broncos near midfield both times, which giving Peyton Manning a short field hasn't worked out well for him. They need to start pushing the ball up the field a little bit more, not be as conservative in this series.
We saw Demaryius Thomas being worked on the Denver sideline. We'll keep track of that, and we get a whistle and a flag and a false start.
False start. Offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Trent, you and I were in Oakland Week 10 when these two teams met. Raiders jumped out to a 10-6 lead. They intercepted Manning twice in the first half, but then late in the second quarter, C.J. Anderson, 51 yards. The Broncos never looked back. Peyton threw for 5 touchdowns, 340 yards. The Broncos won it 41-17 as the Raiders fell to 0-9 on the season.
What's up?
On first and 15, Carr buying himself some time in the pocket and going deep down the middle of the field and complete. Michael Rivera, the intended receiver, or was it Andre Holmes?
It's never a good thing when you come off the play fake and you're trying to push the ball up the field and then you ultimately determine I'm going to float one right down the middle of the field. You have 2 receivers, 1 short, 1 high. That's it. That generally equals trouble. That's not. You'd like to see a little better rhythm and timing, but I do like the fact that they're trying to push it up the field. Now they just need to have some outlets for Derek Carr to dump it off to.
Overthrew one, underthrew the other. Second and 15. Carr on the crossing pattern, and Rivera could not corral that. Let's get an NFL Today update from New York. Once again, JB and Boomer.
Cam in Carolina.
Well, Cam is getting off to a great start. 7 of 8, 59 yards. His touchdown pass to Ed Dixon of 5 yards. He's also had 38 yards rushing already. Carolina on top, 10-0 against the Falcons. Winner gets the 4th seed in the NFC playoffs.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Boy, that Boomer is incredibly accurate when he has to be. Winner wins the NFC South and hosts the playoff game next weekend, and the loser goes home. 3rd and 15. Carr. Little screen, right side. Murray. And Murray going to be brought down at the 31-yard line. And that'll bring the punting unit on the field as we check out the playoff picture. Dallas, Seattle, Detroit, Carolina, Atlanta playing for that South title. And Green Bay and Detroit going to play for the NFC North. Simple as radar.
I tell you what, coming into today, it was a lot more confusing than what's been cleared up so far. But yeah, there's still some extensive math equations out there, right?
How about the last couple of weeks when there were more teams alive than out of it?
Exactly. Felt like the NBA.
Another booming kick, Marquette King. Fair catch is made by Wes Welker at his own 15-yard line with 4:26 to play in the first quarter. On the left, Tony Sperano as the interim coach, coaching his 12th game for the Raiders this season. John Fox in his 4th season here in Denver. Manning from the 15-yard line. This is Anderson, and Anderson with running room across the 20 out to about the 22 or 23-yard line. If you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. Play for free. You could win a trip to Super Bowl 50. Join today at NFL.com/fantasy.
Well, the Raiders have played better defensively this last half of the season. Last week against Buffalo, they held them to 13 yards rushing on 13 attempts. And so far today, the Broncos have been effective with the run, especially between the tackles.
20. And 2nd and 2. Quick pass tipped on its way. And is that live?
No whistle.
It is live. If it's live ball, that's a touchdown. It is ruled a touchdown for the Oakland Raiders. Keith McGill.
The side judge on this side of the field called it a lateral all the way from the beginning of the play. So that's why there was no whistle as McGill picked it up and returned it for 6.
Is that it was a backward pass recovered by the defense and advanced for a touchdown.
All right, let's take a look at where Peyton Manning throws this ball and where the intended target is before Justin Tuck. Justin Tuck tips the ball. So you see right here on this line, you can see where the ball is. Man, that's going to be
close.
tough. So on the field, you see where Tuck's hand is going to come up and tip the ball, which ultimately makes it go backwards.
And of course, any scoring play will be reviewed, so they will take a look, and we'll take a break and see if the Oakland Raiders are on the board here quickly. We are back in Denver. Our guy Mike Carey back in New York. Mike, what'd you see?
Hey, Greg, this is a wild play and a great piece of officiating on the field. The rule says when the ball leaves the quarterback's hand and when it first touches something, that's the direction you choose. And you can see quarterback's hand is on the right side of the 20-yard line, and touches it about right above the line. You see, this one should have been confirmed, as I think it was.
It was.
Great call on the field.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. So the rookie, Keith McGill, who, funny, he's been picked on more than a couple of times already in this game by Peyton Manning, gets the loose ball and scores the touchdown.
Well, and that's great awareness by McGill to recognize there was no whistle being blown.
Janikowski's extra point is good, and just like that, Denver's lead is cut to 3 at 10-7. Welcome back to Denver. Mike Carey is still with us. Mike, anything you want to clarify on that play that we just saw?
Yes, I think this is one of those unusual plays where the ruling on the field is a backwards pass where it's very close. Trent, you know that the release point of a pass is right at the top.
Right.
And so if you stop the camera there and then pick it up where it's touched, you can see that at least it's parallel to the line of scrimmage, which means it's a backwards pass. It has to be definitely forward to be incomplete. Great call on the field.
All right, Mike, thanks so much.
Replay.
Thank you very much. And this kick will go through the end zone for the touchback, and Manning will start now from his own 20-yard line.
And Greg, I think it's important to point out what Mike just said. With a right-handed quarterback, as Peyton Manning is you're releasing that ball with your right hand, so the ball is on that side of the 20-yard line, the right side of the 20-yard line, and as it goes back and Justin Tuck's hand tips it, you can see it's working back. So that is a great call by the officials on the field to be aware of it at that time.
And what Mike just clarified, what you and I were talking about during the timeout, if it's parallel, if it's completely parallel, it's a backward pass.
That's what, yeah, he just cleared that up for us.
Well, that's what Mike does.
Changes. Hey, that changes the complete landscape of this game, though. This is something the Raiders needed desperately.
This is Ronnie Hillman, and Hillman for maybe 2 yards out to the 22-yard line.
Well, and having a chance to talk with Coach Sperano last night, he said one of the words he chose not to use this entire week was end. He didn't want to say end of the season, last game of the season, end of what they've been trying to do, especially since he's taken over as interim head coach. And he was just trying to make sure the guys didn't focus in on this being the end of anything. He just wanted them to keep the momentum going, winning 3 of the last 5 games and playing better football.
They have played hard for Tony Sperano. Coming to the near side is Hillman, and Hillman bumped out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. So it'll be 3rd and 2. The Denver Broncos have not lost a game here at home this season, and the Oakland Raiders have not won one on the road.
Well, and that's been, you talk to the Broncos, and we've had them a couple times this year. They talked about, their ineffectiveness on the road, but how special it is to play here. They want to continue that here today and obviously get a bye and get that first playoff game here at home.
3rd and short yardage. C.J. Anderson, right side, has the first down. Across the 30 to about the 31-yard line. D.J. Hayden making the play. And you see Justin Tuck limping on the sideline.
Keep an eye on the right side of the offensive line for the Broncos, just doing a tremendous job of sealing the edge. This is the 2nd or 3rd time that the Broncos have been able to get outside, and both Ramirez and Vasquez, really with some of the injuries they had along the offensive line early in the season, those guys bumping out to new positions and doing a nice job so far today.
Manning going to throw that one to a wide open number 85, Virgil Green. And he's forced out of bounds. This is what Denver has been through this season. Of course, Peyton set the all-time touchdown record as the Broncos began the season 5-1. And then that loss at St. Louis, 22-7, shook a few people up. But then, as we said, looking to go undefeated here in Denver. 2nd and 3. Peyton going to give that one to Anderson, and that one goes nowhere. Denico Autry making the stop.
Let's go back a couple plays to Justin Tuck's injury. You're going to see him. He's getting near the pile. He doesn't get involved with the pile. He kind of comes limping up towards the line, but it looks like he gets kicked where either he hyperextends that knee or somebody falls on it. It does appear that he's back on the field, but we'll have to keep an eye on that as the game progresses.
Well, he's back, which is good news. On 3rd and 2.
57's Mike! 57's Mike! This way. Hey!
Peyton moves Anderson around in the backfield. Play fake to him. Manning with time. Throwing wide open. He's got his man. Emmanuel Sanders. Sanders out of bounds at the 30-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
This is just a clear out route on the front side with Emmanuel Sanders running a deep drag. You're going to see Sanders working there from your left to your right. On the right side of your screen, it was Demaryius Thomas and Wes Welker clearing out the middle of the field, and with Sanders running across the middle, that just leaves it wide open.
And that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. 10-7 Broncos. Back for the second quarter after this. This is the NFL on CBS. How about that first quarter for the Oakland Raiders? They have 7 points on the board with 4 total yards and not a single first down on offense.
Well, that's not the type of effectiveness you want to have offensively, but the defense stepping up and coming up with a big play for them right before the end of the quarter.
First down, Denver at the Oakland 30. Hillman in the backfield. Manning fakes the pitch to him, has time, comes this way, and that is complete. Being wrestled down is Demaryius Thomas, and right on him was Chance Casey. Let's go back to that play at the end of the quarter.
Well, it was a clear out by Emmanuel Sanders. What you're going to see is Welker in the slot here. He's running through. Demaryius Thomas is underneath. Sanders one-on-one with McGill is going to get the drag across the field. When you catch him in man-to-man coverage, you give the play fake to draw the linebackers up. Sanders, with his speed, is able to get a big window, and Manning put it to him right in stride.
On 2nd and 7, Ronnie Hillman. And Hillman to about the 24-yard line where Justin Tuck makes the stop. Defensive end C.J. Wilson of the Raiders has gone to the locker room with what we are told is a hand injury, and his return is questionable. Benson Mayowa has replaced him.
And we're able to see there on camera Justin Tuck still a little ginger with that knee, either knee or ankle, whatever it is that's bothering him. They had to leave the field for. See him hunched over there in the middle of your screen, still being bothered by whatever it is that either got kicked into or fell into.
3rd and 4. Manning throwing, got his man inside the 5, and down at the 1-yard line is Thomas in a collision there with DJ Hayden.
This is man-to-man. You saw the Raiders come with pressure, leaving man-to-man up the field, and Peyton floats this a little bit too much. Demaryius is trying to catch the ball and protect himself at the same time. Brandon Ross comes from the middle of the field.
This is Anderson with a cakewalk to the end zone for the touchdown for Denver. And we have a penalty marker down in the end zone. We have 2 of them down.
12 men on the field. Defense. That penalty's declined. It's on the play. It's a touchdown.
Well, and that was one of the problems Jason Tarver, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, talked about, is that the Broncos have 3 different tempos. They have to hurry up, get to the line, and snap it right away. Hurry up, get to the line, use up the play clock, and get an advantage by seeing what you're going to commit to defensively, and then, of course, traditionally your huddle.
C.J. Anderson with his 2nd touchdown run of the afternoon. And Connor Barth for the extra point, and it is good. 13:08 to play. in the first half. C.J. Anderson coming right at you for his second TD of the day. 17-7 Broncos. On the far left there with the headset, you see Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, and Peyton in conversation. 10 plays, 80 yards, culminating in C.J. Anderson's touchdown. George Atkinson III is deep, and he will not get a chance to return this one, as Brandon McManus boots it through the end zone. Saturday, CBS Sports features Ryan Boatwright and the defending national champion UConn Huskies visiting Florida. And then it's a top 15 women's showdown. Maryland against Nebraska, a men's-women's doubleheader here on CBS starting at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Ready for a little basketball?
I am definitely ready. I'm a big hoops fan. I know you're all over NCAA, the tournament, everything else, but it's exciting time. Playoff football and college basketball, good stuff.
Either that or it's all over me, one or the other. From the 20-yard line. This is Latavius Murray, and we get whistles and penalty markers.
False start. Offense, number 45. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Marcel Reese, the guilty party. Undrafted. Undrafted Pro Bowler, and the Raiders have him up for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. His foundation partners with organizations who provide opportunities to youth for character and leadership development, and Ben Garland of the Broncos is the nominee from the Denver Broncos. That pass to the far side of the field is complete, and Bryce Butler pushing his way forward back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, that's a good drive start. You just want to get the ball out of your hands quickly, get it in open space. If you've got, as in this case, it was Talib that was in off coverage, just try and get some of that yardage back after the penalty, and they were able to pick up almost 6 yards on that.
Second and 9. Carr on the move, throws complete, and out to the 25-yard line is Murray out of the backfield. It has not been the best of seasons in Raider Nation by a long shot. After 4 games, Dennis Allen was fired as the head coach, and that's when Tony Sperano took over. And they lost their next 5 and started the season 0-9 for only the second time in their great history. But they have played hard, and they've won 3 of the last 5 games and trying to close out this season with a 2-game winning streak. 3rd and 5. They've managed 14 total yards and 11 offensive plays. Carr lost the handle. Still hasn't corralled it. And picked up inside the 5-yard line by Donald Penn, the left tackle.
And I don't know if Derek Carr just wasn't ready for it. It appears that it hits him in the hands. Maybe it came in a little hot. Either way, he's got to catch this ball. Does look like it was a little firm, but
I was going to say a little hot looked really accurate.
it came back there with some smoke on it, but you got to find a way to bring that in.
So the Broncos figure to get terrific field position out of this. Marquette King kicking out of his own end zone. And Welker at his own 42. And back to about the 48-yard line. Manning and Woodson, they go back a long, long way. Woodson, the 97 Heisman Trophy winner, finishing ahead, Peyton Manning.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by New York Life Insurance Company. Domino's. Visit Domino's.com. And by Honda, where you can get great deals during Happy Honda Days.
You're a skier, aren't you, Trent?
I'd be more likely to be in an inner tube going down that hill than on skis.
Manning got rid of it just as he was going down. Ronnie Hillman, his intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10. No, don't you hit the slopes every once in a while?
You know,
go out
I don't.
And grab those lift tickets and all that good stuff.
No, not a lot of that going on. I'm more comfortable on a snowmobile or, like I said, a sled.
I'm more comfortable sitting on the radiator.
Good pressure by the Raiders that time, bringing it off the edges, and then as Peyton tries to step up, the pocket collapsing around him.
You see there, Manning has divided things up. 12 runs, 12 passes.
20.
And this is Hillman. And Hillman going nowhere. So Danico Autry making the stop. So it's 3rd and 10.
Well, if you think of what the Raiders have been very ineffective offensively, and Denver, 3 of their possessions have started near midfield. So this would be a key stop for the Raiders, being able to get the Broncos off the field.
And especially if they could stop the Raiders with the field position that they started with. Marquette King kicked this one out of the end zone. On 3rd and 10, Manning throwing, and that's complete to Welker, and Welker brought up short of the 45-yard line, but that'll still be about 3 yards shy of a first down.
And you know, Greg, the thing that's impressed me is not only the effort that the Raiders have given, but the veteran effort has been there. Justin Tuck, he's been limping around on the field this entire game. Once again, he was the one putting pressure on Peyton Manning as he's trying to get rid of that ball, forced him to throw the ball quickly.
Charles Woodson is deep. We were talking to Charles and asking him if he's willing to come back for season number 18, and he said that if they wanted him back, he might be leaning toward doing that.
Well, he said he feels pretty healthy at this point in time of the season, and 17 years is a long time, especially for a defensive back. But it's good to know that he's feeling good.
Quality defensive back too. That one rolls through and out of the end zone. So Derek Carr on offense again after this. We're talking about that 97 Heisman race. The main contenders from your left: Woodson, Peyton Manning, Randy Moss, Ryan Leaf. That award won by Charles Woodson. You know, we asked him what Tony Sperano has done since he took over. He says he simplified things for the team, and I thought it was amazing. He said he's energized me.
Yeah, and the fact is he has simplified things. He went to both coordinators and said, let's put our players in position, things they do well. Let's have them do that.
Darren McFadden in the game for the first time, and his first carry for a couple of yards, about 2.5 yards. Gives us a chance to remind you the NFL regular season concludes with the Bengals and Steelers on Sunday Night Football tonight at 8:30 Eastern on NBC. What do you liking that game?
Oh, you know what? It's going to be interesting with Pittsburgh playing at home. You got to favor the Steelers at home, so it'll be a good contest, that's for sure. Because those two, there's not a whole lot of love lost between those two.
And the two teams playing well right when you need to be. 2nd and 7. Carr with time and over the middle and almost intercepted. Number 30, David Bruton, breaking it up. Intended for Michael Rivera. In the AFC, as things stand now, the Baltimore Ravens, with their win and San Diego's loss earlier today, into the wild card slot. And Denver fighting for home field advantage. 3rd and 7.
Oscar left. Oscar.
Carr under pressure, and he got hit. And that is complete to the near sideline and out of bounds at the 36-yard line to Rivera for a first down. What a throw by Carr just as he was getting rid of the football.
Well, and great toughness by Carr as well, standing in there to the last possible moment and getting the ball off before Jackson hits him. You'll see Jackson coming to the screen. Derek Carr waits the last possible second before releasing that ball, puts it to a spot on the sideline where the receiver is able to get both feet down.
That's the first down of the day, chalked up by the Oakland Raiders.
180. What's up?
McFadden trying to break it to the outside and makes it to about the 40, maybe the 41-yard line. Raheem Moore coming up from his safety position.
Well, we see Darren McFadden there getting an opportunity, and throughout his career, he's been hampered by injuries. He has not played a full season his entire career, and this is actually the first season where he's been able to play in all 16 games he doesn't bring that same burst of speed that Latavius Murray has brought these last few weeks. Similar types of runner in terms of their size and running style, however.
On 2nd and 6, this is McFadden, and McFadden pushing his way to about the 44, and we go down to Evan.
Well, guys, you've been talking about what Tony Sparano's brought to this team as he took over as head coach, and there's been rampant speculation about who will be the head coach of the Raiders going forward. I actually got to speak with owner Mark Davis for a brief period on the field before the game, and he said, look, the process starts tomorrow. Our coach could be on our sideline. I think Tony has done a great job, and Sparano told us last week, he said, this is my job until somebody tells me otherwise.
Thanks, Evan. He was quite definite about that. 3rd and 3. Carr tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it falls incomplete. Malik Jackson got a hand on it.
Well, Carr is trying to hit McFadden coming out of the backfield. You get McFadden up here isolated, trying to get him on a crossing route. Broncos are able just to read when Carr is going to throw. You can see Jackson's the one that gets his arm up. As you said, Greg gets his arm up and bats it down.
Is it the obligation of the offensive line to keep those D linemen occupied so that they don't do that?
You know, if it's a short throw, if it's a quick 3-step throw, yes, you want your lineman to attack and keep those hands down on that. It's a 5-step drop with the progression. That's just the defender recognizing the double team and being ready to jump.
This ball is going to sail down the sideline and out of bounds. This is going to end up being a pretty good kick by Marquette King. It's going to be marked out at the 15-yard line. That's where Peyton starts.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Amazon's new Fire HD. Powerful tablet, endless entertainment. And by Pepsi. Hype your hometown with Pepsi at Pepsi.com/halftime.
Sports Authority Field at Mile High, 17-7 Denver with about 6.5 to play here in the first half. Derek Carr still trying to figure out this Denver defense today. C.J. Anderson in the backfield on 1st down.
Number 20.
Anderson with no gain, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, and you can see with Denver what they're trying to do. They're going double tight end and working the motion and trying to seal that side and get outside. They've had some effectiveness with that. Just not that time. Oakland was ready for it and rallied for the tackle.
You know, all eyes were on Peyton Manning all week long after that Monday night loss at Cincinnati. I said to him, you're really not allowed to have a bad game, are you?
Well, that's the thing. You know, when you put up the type of career and type of numbers that Peyton is, people tend to think you're going to do that every week. But it's tough in the NFL to do that all the time.
On play fake, Manning throwing wide open in the middle of the field. Complete to Demaryius Thomas. And Thomas is down at the 30-yard line. That's enough for a 1st down. Khalil Mack making the play.
You'll see Demaryius Thomas at the top of your screen here. He's just going to do a dig route. The clear out by Emmanuel Sanders, number 10. They're clearing out the middle of the field. We saw this play earlier in the game when Peyton was under pressure and the play was to the left side of the field to Peyton Manning's left. This time to the right side of the field on the dig route with the clear out in the middle. Just good timing. You can tell the timing the two of them have because that ball has to be thrown before you come out of the cut.
So new set of downs for Manning and the Broncos. Manning, far sideline, that one batted down. DJ Hayden was right there. Let's go to New York for an update. Once again, JB and Boomer.
An opportunistic Carolina.
How about Roman Harper here, guys? Matt Ryan's going to overthrow Roddy White. It's going to be intercepted by Roman Harper. He's going to pick it up, go down the left sideline, and the Panthers are going to take a 17-3 lead over the Atlanta Falcons. Remember, winner gets in. They get the number 4 seed in the NFC.
As Greg says, Boomer's on top of it. Back to Greg Gumbel.
Accurate, he said.
Oh, Coach Rivera is something else with his teams in December. 2nd and 10. Manning sets up the screen, and that's incomplete. C.J. Anderson, the intended receiver, but a little heavy traffic.
Well, they were trying to set up a screen to the left side, and Miles Burris, the linebacker for the Raiders, is all over it. Staying with C.J. Anderson is, even though Peyton Manning's trying to draw the attention to the right, It was Burris that was dialed in and right there and forced Peyton to throw that wide.
5 minutes to play in the first half. Manning under pressure, skips away, completes the pass, and that one lost ball. Ball is out at about the 37-yard line, appears to be covered by the Broncos. Wes Welker fell on it.
Ray Armstrong is who's matched up one-on-one here, and after the snap, he comes over, and he's the one that's going to go into coverage on C.J. Anderson. It looks like he's going to blitz, but then he doesn't. He goes off on the man-to-man, good recognition. Then he's the one to make the tackle and get the forced fumble. Nice job by Ray because it causes confusion for the offensive line if you're going to be a blitzer or not. You can see pressure on Manning, forcing him to step up and then to rally and make the tackle and force the fumble.
Colquitt high. And the catch is made and hit immediately is Charles Woodson. Omar Bolden down there and arrived at about the time of the football. Charles Woodson isn't taking it easy in his old age, is he? Hey, a reminder, tomorrow on CBS, NCIS Los Angeles has never been better. Catch all the fun, drama, and action you love tomorrow at 10/9 Central, only CBS. So Derek Carr trying to find some rhythm for this Oakland offense with 4:08 to play in the first half. They begin at their own 26-yard line. Carr on the move and will run out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. Look at Denver's defense today. Von Miller getting to Derek Carr and then Aqib Talib. And, you know, you look at things like this, it's no wonder Derek Carr hasn't been able to get any rhythm going.
Yeah, it's hard to get comfortable as a quarterback when you're under that type of pressure, and really you have to give credit to the secondary of the Broncos as well. There really haven't been a lot of wide open receivers for him to get rid of that ball quickly.
2nd and 9. This is Murray, and Murray with running room and out to about the 35. That'll be about a yard short of a first down.
When you see that little extra bit of burst that Latavius Murray has, when he got that ball and he saw the cutback lane, he was able to get through it. And is he the same type of speed guy that you think of like a Jamal Charles, that type of runner? No. Is he that type of shiftiness? No, but he's got that power and he's good between the tackles. And when he does get in the open field, go back to that first Kansas City game with the long touchdown run that he had. When he gets in the open field, he can take it.
Oakland still just one first down here in the first half. Carr going deep. And not close to number 85, Kenbrell Tompkins.
Well, and that's due to the coverage that they have on all the other receivers that are attempting to be a part of this route. So the play fake's going to happen, but you're going to see receivers coming here. It's staggered, and then you get Tompkins on the back that's doing the post. What you want to do if you're Derek Carr is you want to get it out to the flat. Well, look at the coverage right there. He's covered. Then you got a backside guy. He's covered. So you have no choice but to go to the backside post. Good coverage by the Broncos and really nowhere for Derek Carr to go with that football.
On 5 out of 6 drives, the Oakland Raiders have gone 3 and out. Welker to 25. Welker to the 26 and no more. 2:32 to play here in the first half, and I'll remind you coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB and the guys will have all the scores, highlights, updated playoff picture all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. So we were talking earlier about Peyton and how tough he is on himself. He wasn't kidding. He said, look, I made some horrible plays on Monday night at Cincinnati, and have to give the Bengals defense a lot of credit in that game.
And that's what he was quick to point out. He said, listen, it wasn't ideal conditions. Everybody knows it was pouring rain, but he didn't want to use that as an excuse. He felt like he just didn't perform well enough, and He wanted to get out there today and attack it.
C.J. Anderson for a couple out to the 27-yard line. Justin Tuck, Shelby Harris making the stop, and we'll see if the Broncos will let that go to the 2-minute warning. And yeah, Peyton is in no hurry to get a play off. If you look at C.J. Anderson's numbers on the season, we hit the 2-minute warning. It'll be 2nd and 9 when we come back to Denver. 17-7 Broncos. Once again, the guys back in New York chomping at the bit. All this information. Verizon halftime report comes your way. At halftime, 2nd and 9.
Rochester, 57th, Mike. Rochester, Civic, Lion, 56.
So Manning with time, throwing, and that is caught by Thomas. And Thomas looking for the sideline. He's out of bounds at the 40.
And you can see as Peyton Manning continues to attack McGill, the rookie, filling in today at corner. Demarius beats him over the top, and I know once he beat him, he was hoping to just, you know, at some offenses you just throw your hand up and you're like, hey, I've got this, let's keep it going. But the called route was a hook, and Peyton put it right there for the first down.
McGill has been the cornerback of choice since the start of the day, and Manning is thrown at. This is Anderson out of the backfield into Oakland territory and down at about the 44-yard line for a first down. Coming up on 1:40 to play in the first half.
And you have to remember Denver still has all 3 timeouts, so they can continue to utilize the middle of the field.
Sideline pattern, and that is complete and knocked out of bounds is Emmanuel Sanders. DJ Hayden bumped him out.
Well, and he was hit going backwards, so the officials are going to keep the clock winding. So with those 3 timeouts, now down almost under a minute.
1 minute exactly to play. Ronnie Hillman. Hillman with the handoff. And Hillman inside the 30 to the 25. Before his forward progress is finally blown dead. As you watch that, keep in mind, Ronnie Hillman is 5'10", 195 pounds.
You could hear the whistle blow that stopped the forward progress. Just going to run right up the middle. A lot of defenses in a 2-minute situation go to a soft secondary, or a cover 2, or maybe a 3 double cloud where you've got extra secondary players and try and rally and make the tackle, keep them out of the end zone. And you can see they're trying to rally. Hillman just pushing that pile, got a little feisty at the end of the play.
Yeah, what's a double cloud?
Double cloud is when you have corners or safeties over the top, but then you have a corner pressed underneath. So you basically have a high and low coverage to the boundary.
It just sounded good. I just didn't know what it was.
Yep.
It sounded great. 51 seconds to play in the first half. Manning. And that is dropped inside the 20. We have a penalty marker down on the near side of the field, dropped by Julius Thomas, the tight end.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's the middle linebacker, Miles Burris.
And he's the one that had Julius Thomas in coverage. Julius tries making a double move, and when he comes out of that second move, Burris just wraps him up and grabs him, and that's what the official sees and makes the call.
So Denver with 2 timeouts, 46 seconds on the clock.
You can still use the middle of the field here, though, with your timeouts.
Manning going to go for it all. Intended for Sanders, covered by McGill.
Well, and Manning once again picking himself up off the ground. Justin Tuck has done a good job continuing to put pressure, and Manning had to throw this ball early. You can see just from a timing standpoint, he has to release it before he wanted to. And then you see Tuck with the hit after the play.
I think no one's going to need that halftime break more than Keith McGill. 2nd and 10. Manning looks right, throws right. Hillman shakes one tackle and then is knocked out of bounds at about the 17-yard line by Ray Armstrong, and we get a timeout called. I'm sorry, excuse me, out of bounds, no timeout. So that stops the clock with 33.
Well, the Raiders, it seemed to be content at this point with just going to a soft coverage and trying to keep or force the Broncos into a field goal attempt. It'll be interesting to see. Let's see if they bring some guys up into the box and show that they're going to bring some pressure.
Hillman out as a receiver. Manning over the middle, incomplete. Fans want a flag. Peyton wants the flag. Demaryius Thomas was covered by Rasai Dowling.
They zoned it out, so Dowling was one-on-one with Demaryius Thomas in the middle of the field. See, Demaryius comes up on the inside. He just crosses his face, and Dowling with both arms grabs him around not only the arms but around the waist. You can understand. You can understand the response by the crowd.
We've seen it called for less.
Well, earlier we saw that one on Ray Armstrong called.
Connor Barth from 36 yards out, and he squeezes it in inside the upright. The crowd still a little bit upset as Denver settles for 3 and boosts its lead to 20-7 with 23 seconds to play.
You can see Barth as he's leaving the field kind of had one of those little grins on his face, like I may have gotten away with one. It even looks like it may have deflected off the upright a little bit. Either way, if it deflects in or goes right down the middle, it's still the same. So, but it's kind of funny seeing Barth leave the field with that smirk on his face, like he got away with one.
Well, everybody tried to figure out just how Manning and the offense were going to come out today. They've done fine. It's been the Denver defense that has totally disrupted the Oakland Raiders.
Well, coming into this football game, they led the National Football League. The Denver defense led the National Football League in forcing teams into 3 and out. They had 53 3 and outs coming into today. And what are they standing at right now, Greg?
56.
Well, they got 5. I think they have 5 3 and outs so far. That was it. 5 out of the 6 series have been 3 and outs. So 58 3 and outs on the season.
You didn't tell me there was going to be math. They will not run this one out of the end zone. And so the Raiders will start from the 20 and here, Trent. Are you satisfied?
That's right. Well, so not only, look at all the 3 and outs, but here's the thing that stands out to me. 3 of them have negative yards. So that's -6, -5, -16. So not only are they 3 and out, but they're 3 and out and losing yards. So it's been an uphill battle for this Oakland offense the entire day, and a tremendous job by Jack Del Rio and this Denver defense.
And work to do at halftime for Tony Sperano and the Oakland Raiders.
180! What's up?
Denver won the toss and deferred, so they will get the second half kickoff. And Latavius Murray going nowhere. And this time it's Malik Jackson in on the tackle. And these are the final seconds to wind down at the end of the first half, and it has been all Denver Broncos. The Broncos rebounding from that Monday night loss to Cincinnati. A win gives them the first round bye and the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs as they hold on to a 27 lead heading into the locker room. Let's go down to Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, Coach, just 1 first down, less than 50 yards of offense. What do you need to do to sustain drives and put some points on the board?
Well, we got to be able to continue to run the football a little bit, okay? Stay in the football game that way. Run the football, make it manageable, but we got to convert third downs right now, okay? They're playing some man-to-man coverage. We got to get open versus man-to-man coverage and convert third downs.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Evan, thank you. And we have come to the end of the first half with the score. Denver 20, the Oakland Raiders 7. We're coming back with the Verizon halftime report right after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to Denver, where the Broncos are leading the Raiders by a score of 20-7 as we get set for the start of the third quarter. And the Bows game changer, pretty simple. Peyton Manning had fun just handing off to C.J. Anderson, who's had 2 rushing touchdowns on the day so far to boost the Broncos to the 20-7 lead. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green. Does this make the second half planning easier to figure out in your mind?
Well, I think for Denver, you just have to continue doing the things that you're doing. So from an Oakland standpoint defensively, you have to find ways to stop C.J. Anderson. I know Peyton Manning is putting up some big numbers, but you can see right here for the Raiders, find the rhythm. Offensively, they've only converted 1/3 down. They have to find ways to get yards, move the ball down the field. And then for the Denver Broncos, don't let up. We just talked about C.J. Anderson, his effectiveness, and by the numbers there, you can see Peyton Manning putting up a pretty spectacular day as well.
And as we mentioned, it'll be the Denver Broncos getting their hands on the ball first here in the second half. Number 31 is Omar Bolden. And Bolden will get a chance to run this one out of the end zone from about 5 yards deep. 20, 30, up the sideline. Bolden bumped out of bounds at about the 31-yard line. Sebastian Janikowski, the kicker, actually helped to run him out of bounds.
Well, and we just got through saying that the Raiders need to do some things differently here in the second half to find a rhythm and get things going, and the Broncos come out and start off with field position. Peyton Manning's going to have field position like he had the entire first half, in position to put points on the board right away.
So Manning starts at the Oakland 30-yard line with C.J. Anderson in the backfield. And Anderson, the author of 2 touchdowns already, is brought down at about the 25-yard line. Let's go down to Evan.
Well, Greg, Denver head coach John Fox's message was it was good, but it can be better. He really likes the way the offense is playing, obviously. Now, he did say that they need to work on some of the twists that Oakland is doing on that D-line. Justin Tuck getting a lot of pressure. I asked him if there's a number or a lead that would dictate how he utilizes his bench, and he said, we're not thinking about that at all. We're trying to close out the regular season. Guys?
Evan, thank you. 2nd and 5. Anderson again, and Anderson breaking free for the touchdown. A 3-touchdown afternoon for C.J. Anderson.
Showing tremendous vision and explosion when he gets through there. A number of missed tackles by the Raiders, and that continues to be a problem. They've done a nice job. C.J. Anderson's going to come in here, and you're going to see his vision, and he cuts back. But what's the number of missed tackles? There's several Raiders in position to make the play. Woodson being one of them, came in a little bit too fast, overran the play, and C.J. Anderson with the cutback and gets up on the board. I know what Evan's trying to say with John Fox and when are you going to put in your backups, but my guess is if it keeps going this way by the start of the fourth quarter, that'll be some serious conversation for the coaches.
Connor Barth, the extra point. It is good. 27-7, Denver's lead, and set up by Omar Bolden's kickoff return.
Here's a nice ground level. Ray Armstrong comes off on it. Looks like he's in position to make the tackle, and Charles Woodson just coming in there too fast, thinking he has the angle, but the vision and the patience that C.J. Anderson shows, and then, of course, after those missed tackles, having the explosion to get in there.
You know, going back to that Monday night loss against the Cincinnati Bengals, everybody wanted to know what's wrong with Peyton Manning, what's wrong with the Denver Broncos, and John Fox, as a good head coach will, he broke it down very easily for us. You don't win against good teams when you're -2 in the turnover department, missed tackles on defense that night, big runs made it a tough day, and coverage was a problem for them.
Well, it's almost everything you just rattled off there is what's going on right now for the Raiders. You know, big plays in the special teams, big plays by the defense, and running the football effectively. It's kind of been a flip script for the Broncos compared to what they went through in Cincinnati a week ago.
So now Brandon McManus will kick it away to George Atkinson III. And this one will not come out. So again, the Raiders will begin at their own 20-yard line. And when special teams makes a big play like that, it makes everything easier.
Well, and it just, it sends a message coming out of halftime. Everybody goes in and, you try and get regrouped as a coaching staff. You try and get regrouped as far as your play calling direction you want to go, the messages coaches you want to send to your players in the second half. And then all of a sudden it comes out and the very first play is a 70-yard return to set up the score.
So Latavius Murray in the backfield.
What's up?
Quick pass for Carr, far side of the field. And that's Andre Holmes for about 4.
They're going to bring it back. They blew the whistle. At least one of the officials was blowing the whistle before the ball was snapped.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 61. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's the center, Stefan Wisniewski. And again, the playoff picture looks like this. Denver with a win clinches the number 2 seed in home field and a bye in the first round. Meanwhile, if they lose, Cincinnati can gain that number 2 slot with a win against Pittsburgh tonight. Carr. Marcel Reese out of the backfield, and Reese out of bounds just short of the 30-yard line.
Well, this has been a resilient Raiders team all season long. You think about the struggles they faced starting off the season the way they did, losing their head coach and coming back, and there really has been no quit in this team. So I don't anticipate, even though the score is very lopsided right now, they haven't had a lot of success on either side of the football. This team has proven that it's not going to give up. It's going to keep fighting.
And as Evan talked about, Tony Sperano, does he want the job? Sure he does. He says he has good communication with Mark Davis, the owner, and talks will begin tomorrow, I'm sure, amongst the candidates that ownership has in mind for the Oakland Raiders. So first down for Oakland. There's Jack Del Rio, who is always rumored to be a possibility, the former Jacksonville head coach, and there's Mark Davis having a conversation with Jack Del Rio, who hails from the Northern California area. First down. Carr got rid of it, incomplete. Nice play by number 97, Malik Jackson.
Well, and Williams does a good job of getting up the field and putting pressure on Derek Carr and forcing him to throw that ball more quickly than he wanted to.
We are told from the Denver sideline that left guard Orlando Franklin being looked at for possible concussion. We'll keep you updated. 2nd and 10.
What's up?
Murray. And Murray pulls his way to about the 38.5-yard line.
Well, I think it's pretty safe to assume, after Evan had a chance to talk with Tony Sperano going off the field before the half, the Raiders aren't going to completely abandon the run and just say, you know what, we're going to throw it 50, 60 times and try and make this comeback. They want to stick with running the football. They want to have that balance. And even though they've had some problems with it, the Denver's done a good job with it, I don't see them leaving that, at least not at this point in time of the game.
3rd and 3. Carr with time, and he's got his man coming across the field. That's Murray. Murray across the 40, inside the 30, down the sideline, and finally bumped out of bounds. David Bruton finally caught up with him, but not before he was bumped out at the 15-yard line. It's 46-yard pickup.
And watch Murray, he's coming out of the backfield. He's going to rub right underneath Rivera, which gives him creates that space, creates that lane. It's just very similar to a lot of teams you see running that double cross with your inside slot receivers, except this time you do it with a running back and a tight end, and it creates that separation for the completion.
Nice block up ahead by Kenbrell Tompkins for Latavius Murray. McFadden in the lineup now. First down from the 15. McFadden with the ball to about the 12. So the offense getting a little bit of life thanks to that young man. But it has been a battle for the Oakland offense.
Well, and one of the bright spots for the Raiders has actually been their production down inside the red zone. They haven't been down here very often, but when they do, they generally get touchdowns.
Carr inside the 10. That's complete. James Jones out of bounds. And they will mark him out, let's see, just inside the 5-yard line, and it'll be 1st and goal.
Good angle of Jones bringing in the catch. He's picking up a block on the outside on Talib, and he's able to get that 1st down before getting out of bounds. With 1st and goal inside the 5, look for him to run the football here, and then maybe on 2nd down if they want to get to a play action pass. But the fact they want to stick with the run, I would anticipate a run here.
Latavius Murray in the backfield with Marcel Reese ahead of him. This is Murray. Murray met at the line of scrimmage and driven back. Steven Johnson, the middle linebacker, leading the charge.
Murray coming in, nowhere for him to go. This is just a counter working back. You see 3 Broncos and no hole. So Murray leaves the field. McFadden comes in. They take out the extra offensive lineman. Don't be surprised they try and get Carr out in some space, not necessarily just sticking in the pocket, but try and get out in space and use his legs to create pressure on the defense.
Carr spreads the field. Quick pass inside, right at the goal line is Andre Holmes. And he will be marked at about the half-foot line.
Well, and here come the horses now, bringing in the extra offensive lineman, extra tight end inside the 1-yard line. Nice accurate throw though by Derek Carr, getting that ball in there, squeezing it between 2 defenders and setting up this 3rd and goal.
Not many rushing touchdowns for this Raider offense this season. 3rd and goal.
What's up?
Carr looking, throws, all alone in the end zone for the touchdown is Jameis Olawale. It is his 2nd receiving touchdown of the season.
What they're trying to do is a play action and flood everybody out. Here's Olawale. He's just going to come back here and he's going to sit in the middle. Everybody else is going out to the flat, and what Carr's going to do, he's going to look out first, but then he comes back to Olawale in the back of the end zone. You can see his eyes and his body language wants to go out to the left, and that's what draws the defense over there. Olawale just finds an open window in the back of the end zone.
Janikowski's kick is good, and with 8:55 to play in the 3rd, the Raiders with their 2nd touchdown of the day cut Denver's lead to 27-14. On Oakland's first 7 possessions, they managed just 45 yards total on that drive, 80-85 counting the 5-yard penalty. And they get on the board with a touchdown and a 27-14 Denver lead now. And this one will sail out of the end zone for the touchback. And Peyton Manning and the offense from their own 20-yard line when we come back to Denver, Colorado, here on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Bank of America.
Ice skating downtown in Denver. We found out last night you can do that just as easily on the sidewalk.
I knew you were going with that. See, hey, considering about 3 of the 5 of us about fell, didn't we?
Manning on 1st down the sideline. Incomplete, and the flag is thrown. DJ Hayden covering Emmanuel Sanders.
Well, they're going to get DJ Hayden with that right arm all over Emmanuel Sanders.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. The ball he placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down, Denver.
You'll see him working up the sideline here, and this is what the officials in great position to call it. You can see the right arm of Hayden wrapped around the left arm of Sanders. No way he's going to get away with that with the official right next to it.
So first down now at the Oakland 44 for Manning and the Broncos. Hillman to the 31. Time to take you back to New York. NFL Today Studios, JB and Boomer.
Detroit knows what's at stake.
Well, their first series of the second half, they go right down the field. Calvin Johnson, his second touchdown reception of the day. Tie up the score 14-14. Aaron Rodgers did not start the second half for Green Bay, but he is in the game now as they get ready to start their second series of the second half.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. The winner is champions of the NFC North. Get a first round bye. The loser is the number 6 seed in the NFC playoff picture. That pass snapped off the top of the grass by Demaryius Thomas. Tonight, what is it about Pope Francis that has captured the world's attention? Some of his closest friends will tell you. Only on 60 Minutes presents tonight, only CBS. The Pope is watching how the playoff picture develops.
Possibly.
2nd and 5, Hillman. In the backfield, Hillman with the handoff. Spinning inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line, and Woodson down again as we check in with Evan.
Well, Greg, just an update on left guard Orlando Franklin. He's been ruled out for the remainder of this game with a concussion, so Ben Garland will pick up his duties on the O-line.
All right, Evan, thank you. And meanwhile, Charles Woodson down on the turf and forcing a stoppage in play for the second time this afternoon. Charles Woodson recovering on the sideline. I wouldn't imagine he'll be out too much longer. Looks anxious to get back in already. 3rd and 2. And Manning sends Anderson into the slot. And that's complete inside the 20-yard line to Emmanuel Sanders for a first down. It's been a war of attrition out there today, Trent.
Well, first for Demaryius Thomas. He's right here. He's going to catch the ball, and he comes up a little gingerly. It's his shoulder he ends up landing on and leaves the field. He'll be back out on the field. And then the second one is Woodson here. He's coming up to make the tackle, and it's the flow goes a little bit low on him, knocks him out. He's already back out on the field as well, but a couple of key players for both teams dealing with some minor dings.
First down at the 18. Play fake to Hillman. Manning throwing, and that's complete. Incomplete. Dropped the foul, and yes, incomplete inside the 15-yard line. Intended for Sanders, and Chance Casey was there with the play.
See Casey coming off right here. He's the one that's going to drive up, knock that ball loose. That's something you see a lot of combination routes that Peyton Manning has used over the years, whether it's in Indianapolis or here in Denver, where the slot receiver goes vertical, either goes corner or post, and then your outside man drags underneath.
Demaryius Thomas is back onto the field, 2nd and 10. Hillman to about the 16.5, maybe the 17-yard line. Clock continues to move as we come up on 6 minutes to play here in the 3rd. Broncos working hard for the day off next week.
Well, you can see just the number of players we've had dinged up a little bit here. Adam Gase trying to figure out what to do here on 3rd and long inside the 20.
Manning on 3rd and 9, throwing, end zone, off the fingertips of Demaryius Thomas.
Trying to hit that back shoulder throw. Once again, going after McGill. That's something that Demaryius normally comes up with.
That's pretty much how it's drawn up, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of these back shoulder throws, you know, going back the last several years, that's become a big thing, and Demaryius and Peyton have been on the same page numerous times. That's, as I said, that's normally a play he comes up with.
So Connor Barth from 35 yards out to put 3 more on the board for the Broncos. And he does. 5:38 to play in the 3rd. And Denver with 3 more on the board. The Broncos lead at 30-14.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Game of War. Play free now. And by Straight Talk Wireless. The world needs more Straight Talk.
Well, guys, we just saw an uncharacteristic drop from Demaryius Thomas in the end zone here. And as I've been watching him throughout the game, he does have tape that has taped together the 2 middle fingers on his right hand. Now, he's obviously got his helmet on. He's available to play, but just something to keep your eye on throughout the rest of this game.
All right, Evan, thank you much. On the kickoff, Atkinson going to run this one out of the end zone. Atkinson across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. About 5.5 to play. In the third. Officially, they say it's 33 degrees. I disagree. I disagree that it feels like 27. I think it feels a little less than that. 5.5 minutes to play.
That's that South Florida blood you've got going in your veins.
From the 21-yard line. Carr to throw. Going deep. Sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Andre Holmes, covered by Chris Harris.
And you can understand why the Raiders sideline is looking for a call, because Harris didn't turn around on that. It's a little double move up the sideline. Harris makes a good adjustment, but used that left arm and is able to pull Holmes down. Raiders sideline was all over it, but the officials were not, so there was no flag thrown.
So it's a 2nd and 10. And here comes the Denver crowd. Carr on the quick slant. That's complete to about the 28-yard line to James Jones. And we check in once again with the guys in New York, JB and Boomer.
Will it be shades of Willis Reed?
Certainly could be, JB. Aaron Rodgers back on the field for the Green Bay Packers for their second drive of the second half. A touchdown pass to Randall Cobb. They take the lead 21-14. Now, Trent Green would appreciate this because Aaron Rodgers is dragging that left leg all over the place. Greg Gumbel, not so much. Why? Because he gets all nervous with a head cold.
I think Boomer knows I'm allergic to pain.
That's right. That's right.
3rd and 2. Carr throwing, that's complete, and that is a first down. Kenbrell Tompkins making the grab. The NFC playoff picture, you know, if Green Bay wins and Seattle loses, the Packers will clinch home field throughout the playoffs. And right now, St. Louis and Seattle are tied at 6 in the latter stages of the third quarter.
Well, and it's important to point out, Aaron Rodgers is back out on the field, and what do? They drive right down the field. So if there's any discussion or argument about who the MVP is, I think just the mere fact of Rodgers coming back on the field with that calf injury and leading him to a touchdown helps solidify his argument for MVP status.
Murray across the 35, and you know, the way we saw him limping earlier in that game, I wouldn't have thought he'd be back out there.
I didn't either. It was that touchdown pass in the first half that he came up limping on, or actually he went down. He was throwing it as he was going down, left the field, and has now came back in the second half. So toughness by Aaron Rodgers, and he shows it by leading him to a score. But Derek Carr, we have to get back to the point that the Raiders, the last series they had, they were continuing to try and run the football. And Tony Sperano mentioned they want to try and continue to run the football. Now they've gone out this series and they're sprinting it out and starting to push the ball, or attempt to push the ball up the field.
On 2nd and 5, we'll give it to Murray, and Murray looking for running room, squeezes across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Let's go back to that last drive by the Raiders, Trent.
Well, the big play in the last drive was the crossing route to Latavius Murray. Just does a crossing route with the tight end and is able to get open, and then the completion down inside the 1 before Alawale catches the ball on the bootleg out to Derek Carr's left, and that's kind of what got this offense going a little bit. There's Olsen, the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. Started out very slow. 5 of the first 6 possessions were 3 and outs, and now they've begun to get some stuff going here in the second half.
McFadden in the backfield. Play fake to him. Pass out into the flat to Marcel Reese, and Reese out of bounds at the 45 of the Denver Broncos and a first down.
Well, and Reese is such a versatile back. I know he made the Pro Bowl as a fullback, and generally you traditionally think your fullback is your guy lead blocking and opening things up, and he does do a lot of that. but he is such an effective receiver coming out of the backfield. And then they've also like to spread him out. They'll put him in the slot. They'll isolate him one-on-one on the outside because he has that capability.
Talking about how they've opened it up here in the second half, Oakland managed just 1 first down in the first half. They've had 7 here in the third quarter. 2:20 to play in the third.
What's up?
Flea flicker. Carr going deep. Has a man open. And overthrew him. Andre Holmes was wide open.
And Holmes has contact with Bruton down the field. You'll see Bruton right here, and Holmes is going to be coming from the right. It's just a flea flicker with McFadden. Watch the reaction of Bruton. He starts coming forward thinking they're going to hit the crossing route. He puts his arm out, just causes Holmes to slow down a little bit. You wonder if that is what affected that completion. Also, the thin air up here makes the ball travel farther.
2nd and 10. Incomplete, intended for McFadden. On the touchdown pass to Olawale, you told me a quarterback sometimes will see a guy wide open and then refuses to believe that he's that open.
You keep thinking you're missing somebody. You're looking around trying to find somebody. And I know, going back to my last statement, you have thin air up here and the ball's going to travel differently. But the Raiders, it's not like they come up here a day or two early and they get adjusted to that. As a quarterback, how you make that adjustment is during pregame warmups and as the game progresses. I know playing up here a number of times, I took extra amount of throws in pregame warmup just to get adjusted to how far the ball will travel.
3rd and 10. Carr with plenty of time. This is McFadden. And McFadden will be about 5 yards shy of a first down.
This is definitely in Janikowski's field goal range. You just have to 16 point. It's a 2-possession game.
And he is going to send the punting unit onto the field.
Janikowski, you can see he was almost out to the numbers. He's a little frustrated by that decision. I would say you either got to kick the field goal or go for it on 4th down. I don't know about punting the ball and giving the ball back to Peyton Manning, which will take it into the 4th quarter with only a minute and a half to go in the 3rd. Unless they've got a fake dialed up here.
Well, King going to try to pin them deep. Fair catch called for and made the 10-yard line by Wes Welker. So Tony Sperano elected to kick it away rather than try a Janikowski field goal of about 57, 58 yards, which he can do, especially at this height, or number 2, go for it on 4th down.
Well, I think you got to pick one of those two, kick a field goal or go for it on 4th down. All you're doing is giving the ball back to Peyton Manning. So far, they've had three drives where they got a touchdown, 3 drives where they got a field goal. So 6 times today, they've been able to move the ball down the field. And, you know, considering they have the ball inside their own 11-yard line with a little over a minute to go in the 3rd, if they put together a long drive here and use up 5-6 minutes of time, you've really left yourself no time. With it being, as you said, Greg, it's still a 2-possession game.
Ronnie Hillman. And Hillman breaks it outside and is out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. Let's check back in with the guys in New York. James Brown, Boomer Esiason, take it away.
Carolina capitalizing.
Guys, things not going so well for Matt Ryan. It's going to be another interception. This one is Trey Boston. He's going to take it back 84 yards, an interception return for a touchdown. 21 points off of Falcons turnovers. Some of us here at CBS Sports headquarters, Tony Gonzalez, are projecting a win for the Carolina Panthers in the 4th seed in the NFC.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Oh, Tony, how much does he weigh? Because that limb that he's out on is going to break pretty soon.
Well, that's a big commitment by Tony, being a former Falcon, right?
The winner is the champion of the NFC South. The loser goes home. And the winner would host either Arizona or Seattle next weekend as we see the final seconds ticking off here in the 3rd quarter. The Denver Broncos with the ball and the lead. And an eye on that number 2 seed in the AFC playoff picture. 30-14 Broncos. We're back after this message and a word from your local station. Along with our producer, Bob Monsbach, our director, Suzanne Smith, and our terrific CBS Sports crew here in Denver, Colorado. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Evan Washburn, Happy holidays, Happy New Year to all of you from all of us here at CBS. 3rd and 2. On the slant, Welker with running room. Welker to the 40. Welker at midfield and brought down at about the 45-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
Welker just one-on-one. You can see man-to-man. You have everybody stack in here. Here's Welker in the slot. He's just going to come across and beat his man. This is recognizing, doing a double move. You know, everybody thinks about the rubs and the crosses that the offensive teams like to do, and that's what Denver does. Both receivers go towards each other, but then Welker does that escape route, goes to the inside with that double move, gets separation, gets an opening.
Manning throwing, and this side it's Sanders, and Sanders inside the 40 to the 38. This is becoming a real adventure because you throw back to New York and you never know what you're going to get. JB and Boomer.
49ers, Boomer. Colin Kaepernick, his second touchdown pass of the day. This one is to Bruce Miller, 3 yards. They take the lead 20-17 over the Cardinals.
Seattle could win the West with the win, but right now St. Louis got them all knotted at 6-all. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. See, Cardinals can. Well, lots of things have to happen. Cardinals could end up on top. 2nd and 2. Hillman looks to be just a little bit shy of a first down. Let me reiterate for you, the Cardinals would clinch home field throughout the playoffs if they win and both Seattle and Green Bay lose. Meanwhile, he was not shy of a first down. He was marked just outside the 35-yard line, and that's enough for a first down. Manning throwing, it is incomplete. Number 88, Demaryius Thomas, double covered downfield.
Demaryius working up that right sideline, and DJ Hayden doesn't turn around, hits him either in the back of the shoulder pads or the back of the helmet. Woodson coming over to get in on the play.
You know what I want to say, don't you?
Turn around.
Turn around.
Turn around and make a play on it.
Look for the ball.
That is one of your points. You get frustrated by that every week. Defensive guys just need to turn around, locate.
Of course, my long days as a cornerback teach me that. 2nd and 10. This is Anderson. 25, 20, 15-yard line. First down, Broncos.
The right side of the offensive line, you have to give him credit. Once again, getting body on body, getting C.J. Anderson to that second level where he's able to make guys miss, get in the open field. Burris makes the tackle, but it's a good 20 yards, 15, 20 yards up the field.
C.J. has made himself a factor in this Denver offense. Peyton Manning looking for his first touchdown pass of this game. He's only had one game as a Bronco where he failed to throw a touchdown pass, and that was 3 weeks ago against Buffalo. Not much for Anderson, going straight ahead.
Well, and getting back to C.J. Anderson, it was pretty impressive him coming into our production meeting. I didn't know much about him. Obviously, we've watched him a couple times. We've broadcast a couple of their games, but having him come in the meeting room brought a lot of energy into it and just really enthusiastic about his opportunities that he's getting this season, about being in the backfield with Peyton Manning. He said, listen, Peyton doesn't scream and yell at me because I make sure I know what I'm doing. He's like, he's not going to yell at you if you're doing what you're supposed to do. So he had a lot of compliments for Peyton Manning and just how much it's meant to him to have this opportunity here in Denver.
2nd and 8. Manning pulls it down, goes for the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Thomas, broken up by Brandon Ross.
Just a corner route. He initially has Ross beat going to the corner. Ball's just a little bit late. Contested, go up for it. There you are one more time, Greg. Defensive back.
You know, Trent,
back to the ball.
It made me remember C.J. Anderson when he was talking to us. He made his mark in the first game against the Oakland Raiders, and he was really proud of himself, and DeMarcus Ware said, good, now go do it again.
That's right. Always the vets keep you in your place, right? That was a good game. Or not rookie, but second-year guy. That was a good game, young guy. Now go out and do it again, and he certainly has this last half of the season.
Play clock was winding down on Peyton. He takes a timeout with 11:19 to play in the fourth. New Denver franchise record for Demaryius Thomas, 1,619 receiving yards. Today, 8 catches for 115. 3rd and 8. Manning over the middle, inside the 5, diving for a first down, but not quite getting there, is Emmanuel Sanders.
Peyton's up at the line of scrimmage, waving to go for it on 4th down.
And it looks like that's what they're going to do. Too. 4th and 1. 4th and 1. The give is to Hillman. Hillman turns the corner. Where will they mark him out? Short of first down. Short of first down yardage.
Well, and I think Denver could ultimately challenge this because I know they're going to give a measurement. It'll be interesting to see where the ball is. Looks like his foot slides out of bounds, but where is the ball when his foot slides out of bounds? You can see the divot that comes up in the grass where his foot slides out right there. But look where the ball is past. Wow. The ball is past the 3-yard line.
So here's the measurement.
The knee is down, the foot is out of bounds, but look where the ball is up here. So,
and it is the measurement shows them come up short. But let's see if there's a challenge coming from John Fox. And he will toss the challenge flag right now. And we're in one of those situations, Trent, where you say, why not?
Right.
Yeah, why not?
Well, and that, Peyton being aggressive like all quarterbacks want to be.
Denver's challenging the ruling on the field that the runner was short of the line of gain.
With the 16-point lead, he was just trying to be aggressive and get up on the line.
So Clete Blakeman will take a look. We'll take a timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Universal Pictures Black Hat. In theaters January 16th. Bose, official sound of the NFL. And by Intuit QuickBooks, supporters of small businesses and all the ways they own it.
Clete Blakeman is back with his decision.
After reviewing the play, the runner was down by contact with the ball positioned at the 3-yard line. Therefore, we will replace the ball at the 3 and then measure to determine if it's a first down or not.
So Mike Carey back in New York. Your thoughts on this?
Well, boy, I think this is a really tight one to move the ball. When you see the right knee down, the foot is out of bounds right about at the same time, but there's not a clear shot that shows you precisely where to spot the ball. But where they're going to put it is where they're going to put it, and we'll see what the measurement gives us.
Yeah, Mike, I didn't think that there was anything definitive for them to change their decision.
I agree, but we'll see what comes of this.
So, Mike, what you're saying is had this been your call, it wouldn't have been enough to actually move the placement of the ball.
That's correct. If I was in the booth, I would have not moved the ball.
Okay.
It is a first down.
And that changes the ruling on the field.
It absolutely does, because where they spotted it before did not give them a first down. Thanks,
Correct.
Mike. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Tony Sperano, less than pleased, as you would expect.
Well, because it still keeps it a 2-possession game. That's why it was so important to him. And the fact that he punted the ball in the last series, and now the Broncos have put together a 5.5-minute drive, makes him even more frustrated.
First and goal for Manning and the Broncos from the 3.
You got one-on-one with Demaryius down here at the bottom of the screen.
Manning lofting it the other way, incomplete.
I should have known better. He had one-on-one with McGill. He's been attacking McGill all day.
Oh, he heard you. Second and goal.
Manuel gives him a quick stick to the inside, and even if he catches up to that ball, he's not going to get his feet in there.
McGill playing today because T.J. Carey is inactive, and he's a fourth-round draft pick out of Utah. He's a good size at 6'3", 211.
And they've gone after him all day. He's made some plays. Of course, they've gotten a few on him as well, but stepped up to the challenge today.
Manning looking for his first touchdown pass of the day. Quick pass. Incomplete. Tried the slant, and D.J. Hayden was there to break it up, intended for Demaryius Thomas.
Watch Woodson coming off the edge there. You see 24 coming in, and Hayden jumping all over it. Knowing that is their adjustment to pressure. A lot of times down the goal line, Denver's known to go to those quick slants. Hayden taking that chance that it's not going to be the fade, and had a chance at interception there.
So what's your gut feeling? Does Peyton run it here, or does he throw it?
I think he's going to throw it. I think he continues to try and push the ball into the end zone through the air.
Ronnie Hillman in the backfield with Manning. Third and goal. Manning looks left, throwing for the corner of the end zone, incomplete. Demaryius Thomas, intended receiver, and now the field goal unit will come on for the Broncos.
Well, this is the right decision. You kick the field goal, you make it a 3-possession game as opposed to just 2 8-point scores that Oakland potentially could put together. So go ahead and get the points on the board and separate yourself even more.
Connor Barth has been perfect on field goals, 3 out of 3. This one from 21 yards. His shortest attempt of the afternoon. And it is good. 10:18 to play, fourth quarter. Denver's lead is now 33-14. Right in the middle of that picture with the hood over his head is Aqib Talib. Oh, excuse me, right there in front is Aqib Talib, sitting next to T.J. Ward. Talib does not appear to be going back into the game anytime soon. It's not injury related, but this game looking pretty good on Denver's side of the ball right now at 33-14. Atkinson inside the 5 and across the 20 and stood up at about the 24-yard line. What's been happening around the National Football League today, you ask? How about the Dallas Cowboys, who just continue to impress week after week? Seattle and Arizona lose. The Dallas Cowboys are right up there at the top of the NFC. San Diego Chiefs, minus their quarterback Alex Smith, knocked off an injury-riddled San Diego Chargers team, and the Baltimore Ravens had to rally late to beat the Cleveland Browns, and the Ravens secure that last wild card in the AFC. Bradley Roby on the field. That's Latavius Murray, and Murray goes nowhere. That's Bradley Roby, who is now playing in place of Aqib Talib.
Well, you go back to the last series, and the Raiders decided to punt as opposed to trying a long field goal or going for it on fourth down. Now with 3 possessions, you have to start pushing the ball up the field. You have to start taking some chances. Derek Carr's done a nice job of managing, not getting turnovers or interceptions the last few weeks, but now you have to start taking those chances.
Murray. And Murray out to about the 35-yard line, and we have a marker down in the backfield.
Holding. Offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Wisniewski, the center, guilty of the hold. There'll be a couple of things talked about on the Raiders side of things after this game. Number one will be the placement of that ball down at the 3-yard line, and another will be why Tony Sperano elected to kick the ball away to Peyton Manning in a game where really they're out of the money on everything.
Yeah, from a Raiders standpoint, you got to be a little bit more, take some more chances, especially with a 2-possession game, and you have a big enough leg with Janikowski. If you wanted to try it, still, I think going for it on fourth down would have been the call to make, and ultimately the Broncos turn around, put together a 6-minute drive, putting the Raiders in this hole right now.
Carr to the sideline, and that is Reese, and Reese will be marked down at the 19-yard line. So it will still be 3rd and long, 14 for a Denver first down.
Well, they're trying to go a little bit of
Oakland.
Yeah, and Oakland's trying to go to a little bit of a hurry up here, and you can see getting to the line of scrimmage right away. But even with 8.5 to go, you have to start thinking we have to go for this on 4th down if you want any chance.
Carr flips it out of the backfield, and going nowhere is Darren McFadden. He's wrapped up by Omar Bolden.
But when you hit your check down for a 1-yard loss, you have to punt it. I mean, I understand the decisions that Derek Carr is making. I completely understand it. We had those conversations with him last night. He feels much more comfortable with his progressions. He feels much more comfortable in the pocket. He knows what's going on as opposed to earlier in the season when we had him. And he was saying, you get a little, your tempo gets quickened up. But now as he's, starting his 16th game as an NFL quarterback, he does feel more comfortable. But in this situation, you do have to take more chances.
King drives Welker back inside his own 30-yard line. Coming all the way across the field, puts on the brakes and goes down inside the 20-yard line. Andre Holmes making the special teams tackle with 7:39 to play in the 4th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. And by Subway Restaurants. Get your own Big Hot Pastrami Melt at Subway.
Denver, Colorado at nightfall. Good thing there aren't any speed traps. So from the 19-yard line, here is Ronnie Hillman. And Hillman tripped up and falls. And Trent, you were wondering why number 18 is still in the lineup.
Well, I said that when we came back from break. I thought Brock Osweiler would go in, and there he is right there on the sideline, has his hat on, has the jacket on, isn't warming up, doesn't have his helmet. Manning ran back on the field, and you consider what has happened with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, having that strained calf, and it just takes one little move here or there. Obviously don't want anything to happen, but with your franchise quarterback in a 3-possession lead, I'd get some snaps for Brock.
Brock has been fooled before. Last time we saw these two teams play, he thought he was going to get a little playing time sooner than he did. Manning to throw. Wide open. 30-yard line and across the 30 is Cody Latimer. And that'll be a first down. When we saw these two teams play out in Oakland, there's Brock. He thought he was headed in.
Oh, look at the smile. He had his smile on his face. Oh,
dude.
We do have to say, though, it only was one play, and then he went in after that one play. But he thought he was going in, and you could see having a little fun with him at his expense on the sideline.
Manning letting the play clock wind down and then gives it to Anderson. Anderson, 3-touchdown afternoon, looking for more. Bulls his way across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Once again, to our New York studios, JB and
Aaron Rodgers can do it all.
That's right. The legend continues to grow in Green Bay. He comes back in the second half, completes 10 of 12 passes, throws a touchdown pass, scores a rushing touchdown right there. They take the lead on the Detroit Lions off of a Joique Bell fumble, 28-14.
Just like Greg Gumbel, who can do it all. Back to Greg.
Including Ake with the best of them. Thank you, JB. Meanwhile, injured player down on the field for the Oakland Raiders. It looks like it might be Brandon Ross. It is. It's tough to get hurt in a football game any time, Trent, but on the last game of the season when you're really going nowhere.
Well, that is tough. You want to go into the offseason as healthy as possible. You can see his right leg gets bent underneath as that pile's coming forward. Hopefully it's nothing serious. It's good to see him walking off on his own power.
Dowling replaces him at safety, 2nd and 4. We are at the 5:40 mark to play. Short drop on the slant, incomplete. 5:34 to play. Did anybody really doubt that Peyton would come bouncing back after that game at Cincinnati? This is what happens with him after a loss since 2012.
Yeah, since he joined the Broncos, 8-1 after a loss, nearly 360 yards. You see that 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He was very focused and determined this week. We talked to C.J. Anderson, and he said that all week long it was that way, and even more so than he normally is, just because following up a game like he had last week on Monday night, he wanted to come out and play well today.
On 3rd and 4, he's going to go deep down the sideline, and is caught by Demaryius Thomas. He is ruled out of bounds.
I don't think he got that second foot down. He gets the first one. He isn't able to drag the second one. Let's see here. He gets the one. Tough from that angle, but the officials were both on top of it. Here's a better look.
Yep, left one was out. Of course, you know what I noticed on that play is Keith McGill turned and looked for the football. Charles Woodson is deep. 17 seasons in the NFL, says he'd be open to coming back to these Raiders next year. Woodson from the 6, splits 2 defenders, right up the middle of the field, and just short of the 30-yard line. And we have a couple of late flags thrown at the end of the play. That injured Bronco is David Bruton.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 96. It's a 10-yard penalty from the end.
Well, it was a tough blindside hit that he took. And David Bruton gets a hand from the crowd.
Unfortunately, I've had to leave the field a couple times in that manner, and that's a scary thing as a player, because you know, normally you have some kind of control of what's going on, and there you've got, you know, your head is strapped down, you've got your helmet on, and no face mask, and the fact he gave a wave to the crowd as he was leaving the field is a great sign, not only for he and his family, but for the fans here in Denver that are supporting this team.
So the penalty sets the Raiders back to their own 19-yard line. And Carr over the middle, tipped, and it falls incomplete. Todd Davis, the rookie linebacker out of Sacramento State, got his hands on the ball. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And see, I don't have a problem with that. I understand in this situation you have to press the ball to the field, and yeah, that ball could have easily been intercepted, but you've got to try squeezing into some tight windows your throws when you're trying to come back from a 3-possession deficit.
On 2nd and 10, Carr throwing, and it is incomplete. And James Jones hit hard by Kayvon Webster.
Well, and Kayvon Webster's on the outside. It's a cover 2 with help over the top, and Webster's on the outside working with the outside receiver, and he peels off seeing the out route by Jones and is able to make the hit as the ball is just getting there.
James Jones, the veteran wide receiver on this roster in his 8th year. Let's get away from the slow motion and see this as it happened in regular speed. So Jones going to get to his feet and walk off the field. Meanwhile, the ranks are getting mighty thin for wide receiver for the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, and they were thin coming into this game, so that even thins it out a little bit more. But it's important to remember, you know, with all the technology and TV and the sound effects and slow motion and everything else, this game is played at a high level of speed by strong, fast athletes, and there's collisions like that are going to take place.
The Carolina Panthers have claimed the NFC South and its playoff slot. Congratulations to Coach Ron Rivera and the Panthers. The word from the Broncos is that David Bruton suffered a concussion, and he will not be returning here today. 3rd and 10. Carr throwing, and that's complete to the 30-yard line. Tight end Michael Rivera, and that's a first down. Let's go down to Evan.
Greg, just to add with the Bruton concussion, I walked with him as he was being carted off the field. They put him immediately in an ambulance for an off-site further evaluation.
All right, Evan, thank you. Carr running out of time. Loose football picked up by the Broncos to the end zone for the touchdown is Tony Carter.
Because this was a score, I'm sure up in the booth they're taking a look to see if this was a fumble or if his arm was moving forward. Derek Carr sliding up in the pocket and stepping forward. McCray is the one that hits him. From the angles we've been able to see, it appears that his arm is coming backward. Keep an eye on that right arm. He's going backward.
Definitely not forward. You know that clock we always hear about in a quarterback's head? Wasn't working in Derek's head.
That mental clock has to go off at some point in time, especially when you know a defense has got their pinned back, knowing you're going to be in a throwing situation and trying to get after the quarterback. You need to get it out of your hands. I understand why he's trying to push it up the field, but there also has to be a clock in there.
It's been confirmed as a fumble and a touchdown, and the extra point is good. And with 4:48 to play in the fourth, the Broncos lead it by 40-14. Mike Carey in New York. Not much doubt about that. When was there?
Greg, yeah, that's an obvious one. I saw Lindsey Vaughn standing on the sideline. I think even she could have gotten that skier.
Glad to know you're focused on the game, Mike. Appreciate that.
Mike's all over what's going on here in Denver. That's good.
You got to see everything, right?
Thank you, Mike. Derek Carr didn't really even get a chance to fully cock his arm before he was hit and lost the ball.
And right before we went to Mike Carey, you could see him talking on the sideline with Greg Olsen, the offensive coordinator for the Raiders, and just explaining why it was he was holding on to the ball as long as he was. And Olsen wanted to know the explanation as far as his progression and what the thought was going into that play.
It's been a long rookie year for that young man, but by and large, he's performed well.
He has, and you have to think of the number of injuries that have happened around him, the things that have taken place, changing head coaches. They didn't change offensive coordinators. That was one of the things we talked to him about earlier in this season when we had the Raiders, and you know, just the progress that he's made, how the game has started to slow down a little bit for him, which as a quarterback, that's an important thing. When you can get things to slow down, you see coverages better, you see blitzes and schemes better, and he feels moving forward, he's in a better place having played the 16 games this year.
Atkinson will bring it out. And Atkinson just across the 10 to about the 11-yard line. Loose ball. The Broncos say they have recovered, but the officials say the ball is down. And so the Raiders will start from their own 11-yard line. Here's Atkinson. You can't see it there. So Carr and the offense from their 11 with 4:43 to play. And by the way, that fumble recovery just tears Brock Osweiler's heart out, doesn't it? because he stays on the sideline as the Raiders get another crack on offense. Off the fingertips of Rivera, incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes Presents Inside the Vatican. That's followed by new episodes of Undercover Boss, The Mentalist, and CSI, only CBS.
The Broncos have both of their starting corners out. Both are going to the Pro Bowl as well. Harrison to lead.
Carr over the middle, and that one's on the money across the 20 out to about ruled incomplete. Ball came loose, and it is ruled an incomplete pass.
Tompkins coming from the right side of your screen on a dig route. Ball coming loose before he hits the ground. He's slow to get up as well. That's not in a position they can afford to lose anybody else.
Butler left the game earlier. Denarius Moore did not dress with a knee and ankle injury. Vincent Brown did not dress with a groin injury. 3rd and 10. And Carr running out of time. Needs to snap in a hurry. Got it. Stepping up, throwing. It is incomplete. Batted down on the far side by Webster. And Marquette King will come onto the field to punt it away. Wes Welker back inside his own 45-yard line. Made mention of this to you yesterday, Trent. Marquette King came into this game having punted the ball 100 times this season.
That's an unbelievable stat when you told me that.
Fair catch called for and made by Welker on the Oakland side of the field. 4:20 to play, and Brock Osweiler is on to the field at quarterback for the Denver Broncos. 6'8", 240 pounds in his 3rd year out of Arizona State.
Well, and he has a strong arm, Greg. I'm just not so sure we're going to see it here tonight.
Come on, Coach, let me air one out. Let me air one out.
Believe me, as a young guy, you want some reps, you want some snaps, you do.
But not now.
Not now.
Jeremy Stewart in the backfield gets the handoff and gets buried at about the 48-yard line. So the AFC playoff picture with Denver getting the win, that means New England and Denver get home field advantage in the first round bye. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh will fight it out tonight for the championship in the AFC North, and Baltimore has moved into that final wild card spot with a win. Timeout on the field with 4:11 to play, and gives us an opportunity to remind you, those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS in our game between the Raiders and the Denver Broncos, along with Trent Green and Evan Washburn. I'm Greg Gumbel. Denver 40-14 over the Oakland Raiders. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast, where it'll be seen at its regularly scheduled time. Stewart lost 4 on that first carry. He'll try it this way. And will be pushed out of bounds, and we'll get another update from the guys in New York, JB and Boomer.
All right, Boomer, the significance here.
Well, how about this, guys? Look at this, a Gatorade bath for Jim Harbaugh. Is this his last game as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers? Looks like his players actually like and respect him. They go on to win and beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-17. The question is, where will we see Jim Harbaugh next year? Will he be in the maize and blue of the University of Michigan?
All right, Greg Gumbel.
If it isn't Jim Harbaugh's last game in San Francisco, there sure has been a heck of a lot of talk about it.
Well, and the fact that Michigan hasn't named a head coach, and that change was made weeks ago, and all the speculation swirling around it, You know, this started way back before the season even started, when they started talking about contract extensions for Jim Harbaugh and what was going to happen in San Francisco, and the fact that nothing was going on, it just made you a little concerned as to what direction they were going to go and what direction Jim Harbaugh was going to go.
See if Osweiler throws one here on 3rd and 10. Throwing down the middle of the field and wide open, inside the 20, inside the 10 to about the 6 is Virgil Green, the tight end.
Osweiler's pretty pumped up here. He's going to give a play fake. Virgil Green's working up that right seam. We saw Osweiler running down the field, kind of clapping his hands. Glad that Virgil Green was able to pull that in, but probably a little mad at himself for not making that a little more accurate so that Green could run right into the end zone.
Dive for that goal line.
That's right.
Coming up on 3:15 to play in the 4th. And Osweiler calls timeout before the play clock runs down. So how interesting a day has it been for Peyton Manning? Everybody looking for him to rebound from that Monday night debacle at the hands of the Cincinnati Bengals. No touchdowns, no interceptions, 21 of 37 for 273.
Not his best day, but definitely a very productive day. And getting ready to head into the postseason, you can see his numbers over his career.
And 2-2 in the postseason with Denver.
You know, it's hard to argue with the numbers that he's put up in his career. What a tremendous career he's had, and he indicated to us in meetings he's not looking to stop. So he's anticipating everything coming back next year.
Stewart twisting his way to the 2, maybe to the 1. He'll be marked down at the 1. It'll be 2nd and goal.
And we even worded it in a manner, is there anything that could happen in the postseason that would make you change your mind? And he's like, well, I'm not speculating on anything that may, quote unquote, happen. But
yeah, we were doing all the speculating.
We were doing all the speculating. He wasn't biting. He said, you know, my thought process and the way I'm thinking right now is to finish this season as strong as possible, play as well as I can, getting ready for the Raiders. But everything about going into next year is he plans on playing. That's his thought process.
Talking to his offensive coordinator, Adam Gase, there. Stewart in the backfield. Stewart gets the handoff and comes down short of the goal line. And it looks like this will take us to the 2-minute warning. The Denver Broncos 2 minutes away from sewing up the weekend off. 2 minutes to play here in Denver, 40-14. This is the NFL on CBS. Happy New Year, everyone. 2 minutes to play here in Denver. We remind you, 60 Minutes coming up next, except for those of you on the West Coast who will be seeing it at its regularly scheduled time. 3rd and goal. Jeremy Stewart in the backfield with Brock Osweiler. Osweiler rolling, throwing, touchdown. Virgil Green, his first touchdown catch of the year. Osweiler's first touchdown pass of the year.
Osweiler with the rollout to the right. Virgil Green just on the inside working the flat route.
Brock is happy.
You can see the excitement he has, and watch Peyton Manning's reaction.
Peyton's happy. Osweiler's first career touchdown pass.
Had a big hug there for Adam Gase on the sideline. Thanks, OC, for calling my number.
And the extra point is good. So 1:56 to play, and Denver just piling it on now at 47-14. A reminder, tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes presents Inside the Vatican. And that's followed by new episodes of Undercover Boss, The Mentalist, and CSI Only CBS. So let's take a look at a playoff picture now in the NFC, Trent. The Green Bay Packers are leading by 10 with under a minute and a half to play. So we're going to presume they're going to win that game. They will clinch the number 2 seed. Seattle has beaten St. Louis, and they're the highest seed overall in the NFC.
Well, then you look at Arizona and Carolina in that 4-5 game, and and you're dealing with an Arizona team that's dealing with a bunch of injuries, especially at the quarterback position. And Carolina has gotten hot lately. They came up with a huge win in Atlanta, 34-3. And then how about that Detroit and Dallas matchup? That could be a very high-scoring game with those two offenses.
Detroit, peaks and valleys,
yeah,
right?
You've scratched your head a few times on that one this season, but their defense has played much better this year. Virgil Green's not letting that football go.
You know, is there a duel to be held between Osweiler and Virgil Green for that pass, for that football? It's a first for both of them.
That's exactly right. Green's not taking any chances, though. He's just going to hang on to it, not give him the option of stealing it from him.
This was knocked down at midfield by Kenbrell Tompkins, and Tompkins returns close to the 25-yard line. Let's go to the AFC. Denver with a win here today, and they're in the number 2 slot. New England, home field throughout. And then Pittsburgh, Cincinnati playing for either the number 3 slot. The winner gets number 3, the loser in the number 5.
Well, and I look at that matchup of the Pitt-Cincinnati winner going against Baltimore, the 3 against 6. The fact that those two teams, whoever it ends up being, are all in that AFC North. So it's going to be a battle no matter which one it is, Pittsburgh or Cincinnati.
Carr on the quick slant across the 30-yard line, complete to Andre Holmes. And the clock continues to move up on a minute and a half to play.
When we talked about the potential shootout with Detroit and Dallas, how about the potential shootout with Indianapolis and whoever they play, Pittsburgh or Cincinnati? That could be a high-scoring game as well.
As you see there, the Broncos about to put the wraps on a perfect season, perfect 8-0 season here at home.
And a much-needed bye for them as they're dealing with some injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, they've stayed pretty healthy for most of the season. But defensively, they could use to get a few fresh bodies back.
Over the middle, incomplete. Marcel Reese couldn't hold on. Mr. Green, I want to tell you what a pleasure it was working with you and Evan Washburn this season. We've had a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, thank you for your patience. You got a couple of newbies here in me and Evan, so thank you for all you've done, and it's been a great season, been great to work with.
Well, I thought every week it was interesting to see who Evan was going to upset on the sideline at the end of every game. Green Bay has beaten the Detroit Lions. So that NFC playoff picture stands as we showed it to you. That pass to the near side incomplete. Going up for it was Michael Rivera. So it'll be 3rd and 10 with 47 seconds to play.
And an interesting piece of trivia for our crew, Greg, is the fact that we had 17 games and we were in a different stadium all 17 weeks.
Very strange. Keep the travel people busy. So the NFC playoffs are official now. Seattle at number 1, Green Bay at number 2. They'll have the upcoming weekend off. Derek Carr with time, but nobody to throw it to. And he's going to just scoot out of bounds just across the 45-yard line. So 39 seconds remaining. And on 4th down, they are just going to play this one out as you get a close look at Charles Woodson. A reminder, 60 Minutes coming your way up next, except on the West Coast. 4th and 5. Carr, a little pump fake, holding on to it, running out of time, throwing far side of the field, and intercepted. Josh Bush, the 3rd-year defensive back out of Wake Forest, and that'll put the cap on Derek Carr's rookie season.
Well, we've talked here a little bit recently about what's in place for the Broncos. Moving forward, they have a bye week. They're going to get some guys back healthy, but the Raiders, what's going to happen this offseason, whether it be a coaching change, player changes, there definitely will be some things going on in the Bay Area for potentially both San Francisco and Oakland.
How do you see this Oakland franchise, if you're a coach considering moving in, you see a lot of promise, a lot of young talent.
There is a lot of young talent. You look at the success they've had with the draft they had this year, the 2014 draft, and moving forward, you have some good pieces in place, especially at quarterback with Derek Carr.
Final seconds will tick away on the regular season for both the Broncos and the Oakland Raiders. The Broncos move on, and the Raiders will go home. John Fox and Tony Sperano exchange a handshake at midfield, and Peyton Manning saying his goodbyes as he gets set for the postseason. Once again, our final score, the Denver Broncos 47, the Oakland Raiders 14. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes presents Inside the Vatican, followed by Undercover Boss, The Mentalist, and CSI. So, for Trent Green and Evan Washburn and our superb crew here in Denver, Greg Gumbel saying so long from Sports Authority Field at Mile High. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.